So what's powering the system? This little guy. This is a PCIe card. It's called the Crystal Core card, and we slot that into a PCIe slot in a standard PC from Hewlett-Packard. And in the middle here, this little FPGA is actually delivering 10 gigaflops of processing power. That's roughly the equivalent to 80 of the fastest Shark DSP chips that there are on the market. An incredible amount of processing power. So this goes in the PC, and this little connector connects into a little breakout box called the SX20, and that's where we get all of our I/O. So that gives us our dual 9-pin machine control ports, which can be independently synchronized. We can sync to word clock, we can sync to video, we can sync to tri-level sync. We can output LTC, we can chase LTC, we can output and chase MIDI timecode also, all from the back of that little box. Also on the SX20 are what I like to call the bread and butter I/Os, which are your analog outputs, which are actually feeding the studio speakers in here. There's 8 digital outputs as well, and 4 digital inputs. We'll probably cut away and show you that a little bit later in the demonstration. So that's all being powered from this guy. What's really in addition, there's 2 MADI ports, so 64 channels each. So the one little card at the entry level is supplying 84 outputs and 72 inputs. Sorry. If we want to actually get more I/O onto the card, we can add this little daughter card, and it's a little breakout card, and that gives us another 256 inputs and outputs. So over 280 outputs and 272 physical inputs can all be serviced from this card. But that's not all. The system also supplies a very large format mixing console, and that can be up to 230 channels into 72 mix buses. What's really amazing is that, unlike other systems, every channel in our system includes dedicated processing. We don't have to add plugins to the channel path. You actually get 3 stages of dynamics, 6 bands of EQ, of which there are 4 flavours. We've got them sculpted after many famous equalisers that have been produced over the years. So there's 4 flavours of EQ. We deliver into 12 auxiliary sends, and the auxiliary sends can be any format from mono up to 7.1. So you can actually send to a TC6K reverb unit, for example, and actually process your surround sound stem through the auxiliary section. There's a fantastic panning system, which Cliff's going to demonstrate a little bit later in the presentation, and that actually pans into 3 dimensions. You'll see that later. It's a real wow factor. We deliver into 8 sub-buses and a main mix bus, so the system's ready to deliver multi-format deliverables. So we can mix to a stereo M&E, a 5.1 M&E, a main mix bus, and we can print those simultaneously into our multi-track recorder. There's an input section. We can remote control mic pre's, switch on and off fan and power, and set up the gain structure. It's all in there. It's a real channel path. You don't have to load plugins, and that's there for all 230 channels on the system. What's really amazing though is that the latency through this channel path is unlike any other digital console that's ever been on the market. In fact, if we go through every stage of processing physically out of the system and then come back into the system and go through every one of its processing nodes, the latency on the system is less than 0.33 of a millisecond during a 48 kilohertz project. If you go to 96K, it halves to 0.18 of a millisecond. So double the sampling rate and you halve the latency. In fact, it's actually fixed at 16 samples. If you don't believe me, Cliff, prove it.
I'll show you.